God bless you. Praise the Lord. What about it? What about Christmas? You need to take your search engine, Google, the occult origins of Christmas, the pagan occult origin of Christmas. There was a religion called Saturnalia. Okay, there was another religion called Yule. Um, I'm not going to break all of that down. Go read it yourself. I'm going to talk about the Bible a little bit. In the Old Testament, we could go in and look at the verses. I could show you, but we don't need to. You can do it yourself. God really got mad at the Jews when they started practicing other religions. That was the big problem. Okay, and of course, back then, they would say, well, we're, the children of Israel, we practice this and that, mix it together. They were doing the same thing then, and it didn't go over good. God punished them. Matter of fact, their 10 Commandments, the first one was, thou shalt have no other gods. So what happened with Christianity? In the early church, somewhere, somebody got the bright idea of worshiping old pagan gods and somehow twisting it like a peppermint stick, bringing in Christianity. December 25th is not Jesus' birthday, but it has something to do with the winter solstice. It has things to do with their early occult religions. And so how does that affect us today? Well, let's just talk about it a little bit here. Christmas is not just a holiday. It's not just a celebration of giving gifts to people and drinking eggnog and singing Christmas carols. There's a lot more to it. There's something spiritual there. Then I'm going to make the statement, I know this is true. Christmas is a pagan religion that adopts certain Christian principles or traditions mixed in with it. Were there other types of occult practices that did this? Yes. Let me give you some examples. Have you heard of voodoo, where they stick the doll with the needle? Voodoo practitioners will show you their Christian idols of saints that they worship, and they speak to them and they speak back. They took Christianity and mixed it into voodoo. Same thing with a religion called Santeria. And you'll see a lot of that in Mexico and in the islands. I've actually seen Santeria practitioners when I was young in Orlando and doing the ceremonies outdoors and burning incense and dancing around and doing their religious things. And in Florida, they used to find chickens thrown in the road. If you're just driving down the road downtown in the city and there's a dead chicken laying in the road and you go past it, that's a Santeria sacrifice. They would kill a live chicken and throw it out in the road, part of their religion. So it's really, if you see, you can go and study it. Just do a little study on Google, and you'll see that they mix it with Christianity. Well, okay, that's maybe the Spanish people or the Haitian people or, those different groups. But what about white people? White people don't do that. Oh, yeah, they do. In Indiana, just outside of Indianapolis, there was in the 1800s and early 1900s a massive religious retreat to a Christian sect, okay, called the Universalist Spiritualist Church. And they were Christians who had seances and would get together with crystal balls and spirits would come and talk to them and move chairs, and they would talk to people's dead relatives. And that was the big thing. They actually, in this town right outside of Indianapolis, they had something like 15 or 20,000 people going there. They had dorms, they had department stores, they had swimming pools, and the whole thing. Now down here in Florida, there's Casadega outside of the land. It's the Universal Spiritualist Church camp. And they've got all kinds of little stores with all kinds of different types of occult activities, from palm reading and all of that stuff, all there. Well, they're very strong Christians too. They'll have statues of Christians or statues of Mary around and different saints. And so they've mixed the occult, right down to different forms of witchcraft in with Christianity. And there are Christian churches with active Wiccans that are not hiding it. They'll even tell everybody. And the church goes along with it, the Unitarian Church. But like I've said in some of the other videos, I've even got the photos on my phone of a Baptist church in Wildwood where the woman minister, she was the head of women's ministries, had a photography business, and she took the young girls in the church and had them read. They were reading witchcraft books, all dressed in black, the pointed hats, witch hats, the brooms. They had little pointers that were their magic wands, and then she would Photoshop lightning bolts coming off their fingers. And this was in the Baptist church. So it's mixed up in there. But okay, what's that got to do with Christmas? Christmas ain't no different. You've got a Christmas tree with a star on the top of it, and little angels, and all of this stuff planted all over it. And then you got mistletoe. Have you ever looked at the occult pagan origins of mistletoe? All of it. The Christmas tree itself was a pagan religion in Northern Europe. And they just simply said, we're going to do this religion. Oh, but we don't want to make the Christians mad, so we'll Christianize these religions. Now, so does that make it wrong? Yes. Okay, really wrong. But what if someone says, well, we don't believe in none of that. We're just going to take the Jesus side of it. Well, to start with, it's not his birthday. Number two, in the Bible, it never says, outside of the initial people that came to his birth in the manger, the Magi. Outside of that, it never says later on anybody. Jesus didn't say it. Paul didn't say it. Nobody. That you're supposed to recognize the day he was born or have a celebration or anything. It's not in here. But they make it a Christian thing. It's not Christianity. Not at all. And if Jesus wanted us to celebrate his birthday, we would know what day he was born on to start with. Right? Okay? So, does that still make it wrong? Let me tell you something. I was really young, involved in a church that did not practice pagan holidays. And I was around lots of young people that joined the church, and they would go home to their families and say, we're part of Christianity thing now, we don't do Christmas. I never seen anything in my whole life. I've never seen anything that brought out such vitriol anger. And I'm talking just downright evil. People would go nuts. And I'm not talking about a young Christian couple that says we don't want to do Christmas, as opposed to their ungodly mother and father and relatives that are all heathens. No, I'm not. Let's back up. I'm talking about this young Christian couple that wants to go to this church that I was involved with that doesn't practice Christmas or any of the pagan holidays, and their parents, which are very strong church members in the local communities. And this happened with people that their parents were involved in many different types of Christianity locally. The hatred, the anger, the persecution. I mean, it was so thick, you could have cut it with a knife. It was not something you could say, well, if you don't want to do Christmas, well, knock yourself out, who cares? No, because Christmas is way more than what it appears on the surface. Well, to the world, it's an office party where everybody gets drunk, but they pass out gifts to each other. They got a Christmas tree in the corner. And to the church people, well, they don't get drunk. Well, maybe some of them don't, but they got the Christmas tree in the corner. It is a pagan religion that just had Christianity attached to it. And that paganism in it is a spirit. There is a demonic entity involved in it. You watch people, and I was around the antique world for a while, and I seen Christmas antique things and different types of decorations sold in auctions and stuff. And people in the middle of July would just go crazy fighting over trying to get this stuff. And you'll meet women that are wearing a sweater with it or a t-shirt with Christmas stuff on it in June. They're following a feeling, an emotion, a spirit that's driving them. And don't go against Christmas and say it's because of Christian reasons. They will get mad. It is a religion. Just like Santeria, Voodoo, or the Universal Spiritualist Church, or Unitarianism, which openly, and Christian Wicca, if you can figure that one out. It's out there. It's not godly. If it was something we're supposed to do, we could open up the New Testament, and Jesus says, every year on December 25th, honor my birthday. Or Paul would say, we always honor Jesus' birthday on December 25th, and that's called the Christ Mass. Well, the word Mass ain't even in here. Wait a minute. Christ Mass? That's the Catholic Mass. That's Catholicism, and it's not in here either. You don't worship Mary. Okay. You say, I don't worship Mary. Well, you don't talk to her, pray to her, appeal to her, hail her. Hail Mary, O Mother of God, the Mother God. Wait a minute. You don't speak to Peter or Paul or any of the apostles and disciples. You don't talk to them and have statues of them like the Orthodox. That's all part of this pagan religion stuff, because the Bible forbids it. It's called necromancy. You do not talk to dead people. You want to know why? You can't. You can't communicate with a dead person. It don't happen. But you will communicate with an imposter, and that's a demonic entity. I highly encourage everybody to cut away the seducing spirit. Ask Jesus for deliverance from the religious spirit that's driving the apostate church. Cut out these holidays. Okay? Follow Jesus. Don't follow men's doctrines. Well, somebody's going to get mad at me. Well, you're telling people this, and no, I'm not telling people nothing. I'm simply telling you what Jesus said. Okay? I go here, read the Bible, and then people get mad as if I made it up, which I haven't. Let me tell you something. Christmas is a religion apart from real Christianity. And it has a powerful, powerful spiritual attraction from the dark side. It's not beautiful. It's ugly. Yeah. So, my advice is give it up, stay away from it, have no part of it. Ask Jesus to deliver you from it, and come in here and read the words of Jesus, read the New Testament. The Old Testament's for us to learn from too, but put your faith into what Jesus says. And if Jesus doesn't tell you to celebrate Christmas, don't do it. Or Halloween, or Easter. Don't do it. Stay away from it. You don't need that stuff. We'll have enough time with the temptations, resisting the devil. He'll flee. But that's what we do as Christians. We're supposed to preach the gospel. I'm going to make a video next that's going to be about something I don't think anybody's hardly ever heard of. But this is really good, and it's on beauty. So God bless you. Remember, Christmas is not in here. It's another religion.